So, since my last video, it appears that Andy Burnham has made some sort of indirect response um, by stating that he's used to being told that he can never do things and that sort of general thing, or he can't make things happen. And the fact is, he can't make things happen because the subject today is council tax. It has been said that they're going to look at scrapping council tax, and while I would say that's a brilliant idea, if we look closely at the small print as stated by somebody else, they are thinking of replacing council tax. They're not actually thinking of scrapping council tax at all. Now, before we really get into what they would do with it, it's worth noting that the whole point of scrapping council tax is to never replace it. There's no need to replace it, and it's about money management. The government needs to accept that they need to stop spending all our tax money on foreigners and foreign countries and sending all our money out to the EU, because a lot of our money goes to these countries and it should be coming to us, and it's tax we pay. So the reality of the situation is they want to pretend that they're doing us a favor, but the results of that favor would be negative to us. Remember, we pay 100 types of other taxes in this country. Half of them are not necessary. Most of them line, shareholders' pockets and, donors' pockets. And that's where that money really goes. And, that's why council tax should never really be replaced. It's not workable. It didn't work under the poll tax. It doesn't work under the current tax system and costs more than the government spends to pursue. It actually costs them more to pursue somebody for council tax than the value of the actual bill. And they are in debt trying to run the council tax department. They're always in debt, millions and billions, in fact, billions of pounds in debt. So it's about money management, and they need to accept this reality that nobody is going to pay them a second rent, effectively, on their rent or their mortgage while they're paying their rent or mortgage. It's just not happening. So they need to learn that this is something that just needs to go away. The replacement idea is as follows: they're looking at bringing in a new annual tax of 0.448% on your home's value. So that means every single year, £250,000 home would pay around 1,200 a year, which is exactly the same as what they're paying right now, really. You know what I mean? And then £500 who would pay 2,400. But it would the responsibility for paying it would then switch to the landlord for rent in situations where people rent. So, what are the landlords going to do in response? We're going to put all your rents up. So, the whole point of scrapping council tax is to make renting cheaper, not to increase the rental bill again, which they've already done by adding, by fucking around with, it was Liz Truss who fucked it up and put the, mortgage rates up for everybody because of the changes she made, and I can't remember exactly what they were. But the point is, it does now cost more to rent, and as a consequence, more to buy a house, and it shouldn't do. Houses are not worth more than 20k. I'm sorry, it's four walls and a roof, and this is really a direct message to Burnham. You can't replace council tax with anything ever. It's just not workable, right? And the reason is very simple. Nobody will pay it. Nobody pays council tax now, right? The very few in the minority of people who do actually pay it and are in debt to it every year, right? So, and they don't pay it willingly, they pay it begrudgingly. And there are plenty of people who will just turn around, stick a middle finger up, and go, no, learn to manage your money better. Like, the government are always saying we need, because we're, as public as the public are, we're always supposedly in debt, right? Well, we've got debt, right? It's always the public's fault that they've got debt because they've apparently borrowed too much. But no, 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 no. What we fail to remember is the government created the debt, and if the debt is council tax, it's a government created debt. You create the bill, you place it on the publican, right? And the publican has to go and then pay that bill, even if they don't agree with it. There's no right to an appeal. There's no there's no right to refusal. You try to criminalize people, and you put people in prison for the non-payment of council tax, which I think is ideologically, you know, incorrect. It's the act of a dictatorship to say you can't refuse. Well, then that's a dictatorship. You're not running a democracy anymore. You're running a dictatorship. So the reality of the situation is there is going to be no replacement of council tax because we won't pay it. It's that simple. It's we already pay how much in rent. We already pay how much in bills. You're not entitled to have this money. Learn to spend the money that you're given in tax better. Stop giving our money to Europe. Stop giving our money to foreign aid. Stop spending so much on defence. We're an island. We've only got so many resources, as I've said before. You're not going to be adding a new annual tax. You're balmy if you think that's ever going to happen. Nobody will pay it. What are you going to do when everyone turns around and go, yeah, fuck off? Like, this will be the third iteration of a council tax. First we had council tax, then we had, first we had poll tax, then now we've got council tax. And now you want an annual tax. Changing the name of something and then shifting the responsibility of payment is not acceptable. Just scrap the whole thing, because all you're going to do is waste millions of pounds on the pursuit of yet another tax that nobody wants to pay. You must be stupid if you think you could use smoke and mirrors to blind people into paying your hated taxes. You already get 100 types of tax in this country, 100 different ones, from birth to death, right? If you can't manage the finances of this country and the running of the councils on those taxes, then you should not be paying money out to fund other countries or to gift other countries their aid from our coffers, because you clearly can't run the country on the money you've already got. You're then using a council tax to borrow money from us to pay out to other people who don't live here. And this is the problem with this country, is just you think you can just give our money away and promise our money to other countries when you can't even look after your own. You're not living within your means. And that is important in this day and age. So the reality of the situation, as I've said many times already, is there will be no replacement of a council tax because nobody will cooperate with it, right? You can sit there with your Pinocchio's nose and your smoke and mirrors and pretend you're going to break eggs with a big stick, but you're not. You're just going to end up looking a complete clown. It's not like you don't already look like a clown. You should have called a general election the minute you took power. You are a caretaker prime minister at best, Mr. Burnham. You are nothing more. And nobody trusts you except a bunch of paid actors and preened prats who want to make it look like you're going to do all these things that you're not actually going to do, really. You're going to U-turn on them all. You're a coward and a fraud, and you should step down. And that's me saying my piece again. I'm sure you'll reply with some ridiculous spoofed news piece that nobody will really pay attention to except your brainwashed few followers.